Hi, welcome to Midwest Magic Cleaning. My name is Crunch Punchman, and this week we're going to be taking a look at how hoarding disorder can completely and utterly destroy a house. And I'm not just talking about the trash and the stains, and I'm definitely not talking about clutter. This is how hoarding can just utterly destroy physically a house. Now understand that what you're looking at here is not simply hoarding disorder. This is severe mental illness, really severe. First of all, understand that hoarding does not just mean the person collects stuff. It's the irrational collecting of things and assigning extreme value to it, even if it's worthless garbage. I get occasional comments from people who will say things like, this isn't hoarding, this is just a bunch of trash. Well, that's what hoarding is. It's literally in the definition of hoarding disorder. So anyway, the trash piles up because the person won't clean. That provides shelter and food to pests and insects, roaches, spiders, ants, bed bugs, tiny itty-bitty moose. Those bugs then expel waste underneath that trash, and then the rot starts. Because the floor is covered in trash, it doesn't allow any moisture to evaporate, so the rot spreads and you start to get mold and bacteria, and that becomes trapped between the trash and whatever surface it's on. So for instance, on this one, it's mostly the floor. That rot then spreads to the subfloor, which softens and weakens it, and before you know it, it caves in and you have a giant hole in the floor. The weight of the hoard then pushes down onto the house over time and makes everything settle. So your plumbing, which is rigid, eventually cracks and starts to leak. In more cases than not, the people who live in these conditions are living in abject poverty. And when you combine the lack of funds with not being able to let somebody even walk through your house to get to the leak just keeps getting worse and worse until it eventually rots through your subfloor. That's something we see in almost every hoarder house we've ever cleaned. The sinks are rotted out, the cabinets below those are rotted out, the water doesn't work, half of the sockets in the house don't work. Eventually, almost everything in the house breaks. You can't get air conditioning because even if the air conditioner worked, all the vents are covered up with trash, so the air can't physically come out of the vents. The same thing with central heat. Almost all these houses either have kerosene heaters or electric heaters because the heat can't come out of the vents. Eventually, the dishes pile up, which creates even more rot because you've got food directly on the dishes, and that becomes another home for roaches and pests. I pulled the very first dish out of the sink in this kitchen. About 1,000 mosquitoes came out because they were breeding in there, which is to say that was actually our final straw to say we've done all we can in this house. This is now too dangerous to work in. So for those of you who have asked me in the past, have you ever had a house that you didn't finish because it was too much? This is the first one.